you so much for tuning back into Vedgecation. I'm your host, Brittany Jones. Like I said, most people call me Brit. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, a former pageant queen. I wear a bunch of other hats, and my most recent hat is I love everything plant-based and vegan. This is my friend Leiah.
Hello, I am Leiah Rushlow, your better host. Just kidding, your other host. I am a former banker turned health coach, TV personality.
Another hat of mine also. Go on.
Accurate. Super, super, super vegan. Yep, definitely vegan. But welcome all kinds. You don't have to be vegan to be my friend, but I might convince you to be after a while.
That's what she did for me. So, what are we talking about today, Leiah Rushlow?
We are talking about plant-based living. So what is the difference between being vegan, between being vegetarian, between being gluten-free? What do all of these names mean? And do you have to go from being meat eating, fish eating, all the way to vegan? Are there steps you can take? What does that look like?
Absolutely. Let's dig into the dirt that is Vedgecation.
Vedgecation.
So, vegetarian, which most people know what that means, right? You don't eat meat.
Yep.
The difference between a vegetarian and a vegan is what?
Being vegan means that you are not consuming any animal products, meaning you're not consuming eggs, not consuming any dairy, no fish, no meat, and also for most vegans, no honey. That is a controversial topic between the vegan community.
Yeah.
Some vegans do consume honey, others do not.
What makes that a controversy is because the bees don't die from
Correct.
producing the honey. So there's, I guess, a question of does it harm them or what kind of harm does it cause them? And so can we dig into that a little bit?
We can dig into it, but I truly believe it is your personal preference.
I love that.
And the point is, if you are going to use local honey, let's say, if you can find a local beekeeper and you want to consume honey and you are able to visit that bee farm and the beekeeper and really get something that way, I would be more in line to recommend that.
Okay.
But to go to the store and buy honey, which is truly not even real honey, a lot of what is brought over to the United States is only partially honey.
Okay.
So it's really going to be a mixture of fake and real.
So the key to that is if it's expensive, it's probably better than
It's always
the bear.
Correct. Yeah.
That's probably one piece of, I guess, plant-based living that can be more expensive is going from buying just any old product to making sure that you're getting local, organically sourced. And there's a couple of reasons why organic and vegan and non-GMO, all of that stuff costs more. And as the resident expert here on Vedgecation, our certified health coach, Leiah Rushlow, can you help not just me, but our viewers kind of like understand why there's a cost difference?
Yeah, so if you look at organic versus non-organic, so you're talking about a difference between hundreds of different chemicals on your non-organic versus your organic.
Yeeks.
Yes, produce. So if you can't afford organic everything, I definitely recommend going to ewg.org and looking up their list they put out every year called the Dirty Dozen. So if you can only afford some foods organic, definitely get the Dirty Dozen, which are going to be your most sprayed with pesticides produce.
Yuck.
Stick to that. GMO, once again, too, you can look up the foods that are going to be the most GMO foods and also avoid those on the list, too.
And just as an FYI, GMO stands for genetically modified organisms, which means they essentially take something that is natural and of this world and they sort of inject it with all kinds of yucky chemicals to either make it last longer or, in the case of meat, make it
basically a lab grown food.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's talk about vegans. We were talking about vegans. We talked about vegetarians a little bit. You have pescatarians, right, which are going to be people who do not consume any chicken or beef, but they do consume fish.
It's seafood.
Seafood, and usually most pescatarians also still eat dairy.
Yes.
And then you have, of course, your standard American diet, which is going to include all of your food groups. And then if you're talking about gluten-free, there's 2 types of gluten problems. So there's the people that have celiac disease, which
Yes.
means that they are
Their body can't tolerate
any part of it
Yeah.
to a point where they will get ill and could potentially die from consuming
gluten.
And
just again, another FYI. So when you look at nutrition labels and you see like may contain wheat, gluten sensitivity is a direct reflection or gluten sensitivity means there's also a sensitivity to wheat, right?
Correct.
Because most wheat has
Yes.
gluten.
So gluten actually is a protein found in wheat.
Gotcha.
So when you're reviewing a bread, wanting to know whether or not you would want to buy that bread, even if you are not gluten sensitive or celiac, of course, you would want to avoid that. But when you're looking at the breads, it should only say organic, let's say wheat flour. If you go down the list and there's an additional ingredient that says added wheat gluten,
That's
do
a
not
problem.
buy that bread. That is going to be much, much harder for your body to digest. There never should be an added wheat gluten, only the gluten found in the original organic wheat.
I feel like we got really deep into this.
Got deep into gluten.
Very like heavy into all of this stuff, and we got really serious.
Yes, we got super serious.
But
we
you
talked
know what?
about
We get serious about it because we're super passionate about it.
because we want people to take back control of their health and really be educated. And I want you want people to also feel confident when you're going to the grocery store that what you're buying is the best for you and your family if you have one.
So quick recap: vegetarian, no meat; pescatarian, no meat, but also except for fish. Vegan, nothing from an animal whatsoever.
Yep.
Do you want to know something that's really weird?
What?
So when you first introduced me to all of this plant-based lifestyle, it really blew my mind, like how many products have milk in them, number one.
Yes.
And then products that you would think would be vegan actually aren't, like marshmallows. There's fish in marshmallows.
Yeah, it's super gross.
It
when you
is
say
super
like that.
weird.
Yeah.
There's
Jell-O?
like beef in Skittles.
Ugh.
Or
Yeah.
is it beef or pork?
I don't really know, actually. That one's jury's out. You probably know more than me on Skittles.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten Skittles in so long.
Or like not Skittles, gummy bears.
oh, gummy bears.
Pork.
I believe it's pork.
Gelatin, that's a scary, like pectin, that comes from fruit. Gelatin comes from an animal. It's weird.
It is. And I think that just knowing what those ingredients are when you're going to the store makes you feel more prepared to be able to make better decisions.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you feel better.
I do feel better.
Okay.
Do you
I
feel better?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Oh, one thing to note about being vegan. So it is a controversial topic, again, in the vegan community, whether in order to be, you hear a lot of people being plant-based versus vegan.
Yes.
So the reason someone's going to use plant-based over vegan may be because if they have a leather bag that they bought when they were not vegan and they don't want to seem inauthentic, they may call themselves plant-based versus vegan because usually if you have been vegan for a very long time, you don't tout anything that could be conceived or is made from animals, including your clothing and leather, handbags, things like that.
Yeah. I think there's now companies that are making vegan vehicles, right?
They're definitely, most companies have actually gone away from using leather.
Yeah.
Not just because of the animal cruelty, but because of the fact that it's actually cheaper for them to put vegan leather in their cars.
Yeah.
So I think we're talking about vegan fashion on an episode coming up quick, right?
I know, I'm excited.
I'm super excited too. Well, we hope you feel vegecated after this episode today. I know I certainly do.
Same. I feel super vegecated.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by and getting a little vegecated.
We love you so much. Come back next time.
Bye.
Bye.